Hey everyone, my name is Christopher Slodden. I'm one of the owners of Storage Onsite, a local Virgin Islands company. We were established in 2006 on the island of St. John. It is a family-owned business. It's currently run by me and my father. We started in St. John with just the mobile storage. So those yellow 20-foot shipping containers that you see around the islands, that's, usually us. Uh, it kind of morphed out from there. We did a self-storage yard in St. John. We've gotten into some modular office spaces, some container offices, a few bigger projects for the government along the way. And then we just opened up our first self-storage yard on the island of St. Thomas in May of last year. And we're very excited about what the future for the VI holds and how we can play a small but hopefully impactful role in it. Okay, so we thought we could provide a kind of unique perspective on innovative housing and in particular how it relates to modular housing and container housing. Kind of went through the background of our company prior, but again, just here's kind of the key highlights here. What we have seen work in the Virgin Islands and what we've seen not work is the stuff that has worked. It's been more of what I believe is a bottom-up approach to solving the problem. And it's done with key importance of understanding the local environment and the experiences that we kind of have to go through, i.e. hurricanes, being right near salt water and the impacts that that can have on metal. Um, we've when things try to get forced from what I call a top-down perspective, it can get a little hairy. I understand that, a lot of times, for example, after the hurricanes, Irma and Maria, we had to do a lot of modular buildings for the schools and, big contractors were brought in from the States. We ran into some issues with some of those units that the community has heard about. I'm a firm believer that's a result of these units are typically built in factories to survive, situations like Kansas, Iowa, and it's done for the mass market of the US. And we tried to apply that solution to our environment down here and hence some of the problems that we've seen. We view our mission as secure storage, clean offices, affordable rates, and again, done local, done right. Getting into modular buildings. So what I refer to as modular buildings are essentially prefabricated structures that are typically built in large factories for ones that we would get for the Virgin Islands, they would be built in large factories in the United States. The key benefit to this is that it can save a lot of time and manpower. You have a situation where within the Virgin Islands, we are very resource constrained. We do not have a lot of manpower. And in some cases, with specialized equipment, we don't have the technical skills. So being able to take large portions of big projects and have those done in the States, that can save a lot of time and allow things to actually move forward. You can see cost advantage compared to traditional construction as long as you kind of utilize the economies of scale that go into a factory production. So like I had mentioned, modulars are typically built to serve the mass market of the United States. So one thing, for example, is wind code. You'll typically see these things built to about 115 mile an hour sustained wind load. You can have some modulars will go up, about 150 mile an hour sustained. You lose some of the cost advantages there because you're getting more and more into essentially creating a specialized product and hence losing a lot of those economies of scale. So that's where we see a lot of these potential quality issues. It's not necessarily that a factory is trying to screw anyone or, be cheap or anything. It's just, it's not built to the environment that we all have to kind of survive in, and hence some of the issues. One thing that I, get a little worried about looking forward for the VI is we have mass amounts of federal aid that's supposed to be coming down with construction projects, several million dollars to rebuild schools, airport on St. Croix, St. Thomas, hospitals, and you run this forward and you go, we do not have the local labor force to do all these projects that will lead to us having to import workers from the States. And it could be a few thousand people that are needed to actually get all these projects done. My concern is these people are, they're construction workers, they're going to be paid well, they're going to have a per diem. And if we don't address some form of workforce housing, I get very concerned that what you're going to have is a bunch of people who have $150 per day per diem, along with a high wage that they're getting, now competing with the local standing population of renters for, a not large pool of rental units. That's going to lead to, a lot of inflation that renters are going to see in terms of rent price go up. It's going to lead to affordability crises. And I think workforce housing, addressing that with modulars is a very smart move, because you can kind of utilize these economies of scale. So situations where Joe down the street, for his family, where they've been on island for generations, they plan to stay on island for generations, I would have questions about them being in a modular built to, say, 150-mile-an-hour wind. I do not think that is the right answer for, an actual residence. If you got one built a lot higher wind code, that's great, but workforce housing, you can create kind of like the Havenza man camp. Large amounts of workforce housing, have these things built to 115-mile-an-hour wind, and then when a hurricane is coming, the whole MO here is that whole workforce housing complex needs to be evacuated, and those people need to go into a actual hardened shelter for a storm. So these solutions are not very clean. They're not, the silver bullet that's going to solve everything. But if we can make headway on just addressing workforce housing, I think that's going to give a lot better leg up for the rest of the community in terms of affording housing going forward. One thing that we currently offer is modular offices. So you might have seen these around. We had some, around St. Thomas, St. Croix as well. They have bathrooms, they're built well. For example, we spend more on these because, we're primarily a rental fleet. So we like to have assets that last. These, for example, are built to 150 sustained wind, 180 volt speed. And that's referred to that kind of 3-second burst when the wind really picks up for a short duration. So we've had a lot of experience doing the offices. We've learned some fun lessons along the way, but the interesting thing is that those modulars can be fully customized to, do a residential man camp. That's 100% possible. Again, Havenza did it. That is for more, large scale. For kind of smaller scale workforce housing, like say it's, not necessarily the hospital being rebuilt, but a, commercial building where you can have 20 workers. You could utilize container housing as well. This is interesting because you can move it around and reuse it. So it's got some hair on it in terms of it's probably not the most, desirable layout for everyone. And it's going to be, kind of interesting to see how it all works out. But it allows kind of that rapid deployment and allows the VI a chance to respond and get the workforce that it needs. I think trying to find innovation and, new things are wonderful. I do also feel that we should explore try and find whatever efficiencies we can utilizing the traditional construction techniques that we already do. For example, one thing, I've shipped the quantity of 20 shipping containers in this year. I paid to ship air. We ship them empty. I'm sure other people in this room, have shipped 20 containers worth of goods, and if we had all collaborated on that, we could have saved, $40,000, $50,000 to Crowley or Tropical. So if you and that's just, we play a very small role here. So if you run that kind of, if you look for efficiencies in all aspects of traditional construction, I think that's one way that we can bring housing costs down, while also knowing that this is a quality structure. This is the type of home that we want for the people who've been here for generations and plan to stay here for generations. That's a true residence. We have done a lot of the container offices. We have not done one for residential yet. We've explored some opportunities, and we would be very interested in exploring this more. What I think is required is a lot of collaboration with particularly DP&R on this. We want to make sure that if we do something, it's going to be done to meet code, it's going to be safe, and it's going to be a viable structure, for people to be in. So I think the more collaboration everyone has going forward, I think we can all get something really good that's actually going to work for the environment that we're all living in. And just another thing, we also do, the regular storage and everything. So we view ourselves as a real complement to any type of construction going on in the VI. So we're happy to help. We also have a lot of experience just in dealing with the metal on the containers. A few things that, container housing is done. One thing that we've seen make a big impact is we paint the exterior roof a white silicone. And what that does, it gives good protection against, sap or any corrosion or anything like that. It protects the metal, but that white color will bounce heat off of and actually lower the temperature of that unit on the inside significantly. So there's a lot of these, what I call passive systems that can really work together to provide a better experience for everyone, lower energy bills. And it's little tricks that can make a big impact. So anyway, that's my presentation. If you guys have any questions, happy to address them. And thank you all for giving me your time and attention today.
Thank you, Christopher. Great presentation, and I love what you're doing. Great points that you noted in regards to concerns. And a big one that you brought to my attention, what I thought that was a great idea for, these container homes or modular homes, but considering the wind effects and not long term. And so I know people are using it for long term, for the long term use. How do you respond to that? Because if they're seeing this as a reducing their cost of building a structure for themselves, we usually these are residents now, right? Like you were saying, to combat that inflation, rentals and those kind of things. How would you respond to that? Because I find people that are using the modulars, they are now building around it. So is that a way to to enforce the structure by cementing around it, or having an exterior to the structure? Is that a way to combat?
Yeah, there's definitely ways. And for example, I've seen some container homes built around the islands and they're gorgeous. You 100% can make this thing, essentially a bulletproof structure that's definitely going to survive. What happens, what I've seen, when you start walking down that road, you really start to lose a lot of what you think are the cost efficiencies that you're getting. So it can still be cheaper than traditional construction. It's just my big thing with in particular container housing and some of the modules, the floor plan layout can get a little wonky because you're trying to fit everything in a structure, and it's just you can do this very, very, very well. It just, in my experience, it's gotten pretty expensive to do so. You can definitely reinforce these for storms. We did the waste management Demerara. It was 6 buildings, double wide, I think 7,000 square feet. Actual concrete foundation. We put the modulars on it, and then we had metal plate in front of us. They're like, "Oh, this is ridiculous. This is so overdone." But Irma happened, and the unit survived. So you can do that. I will tell you, when we did that extra foundation for waste management, it was expensive. Now, it was 100% the right move that they made based on Irma happening. 100%. It's just you can start to really lose efficiencies. And that's why I'm saying I think this is a great complement to traditional construction. And I think if you have both things going in concert, you can really get something good. Because my big thing is, if we're going to go down this road on modulars, we have to focus on, really getting the economies of scale. And where you get that is you get things that are built to 115, 120. When you go past that, it gets very expensive. And that's why I'm saying, situations where workforce housing, it could be a homeless shelter, with the understanding that any storm, they are evacuated to a hardened shelter. So something that's a community-based thing where the police, the whole community by TEMA can know this whole thing needs to be evacuated. When you apply that to individual homes, Joe down the street, Susan down like that, it's going to get unmanageable. So I just don't think that the technology is really there yet to do this cost effective for the VI just based on our environment. You 100% have gorgeous homes. I've seen them done. They're gorgeous. Like they've done a wonderful job. They look so safe. It's just, I don't know if that's going to be economical on scale.
Got it. Thank you for that explanation.
Chris, thank you for your presentation and the information and what you and your dad have done already in the VI. I'm curious about how the septic and plumbing, how are those things handled with the if you're talking about workforce housing, how is that handled from within the unit?
Sure. So inside the unit, you'll walk into the unit, you'll see the bathroom and everything. It's like a normal bathroom you would see in a house. When you walk outside the unit and look under the unit, because this is all on its own kind of chassis. So think of like a mobile home where it's permanently attached to the wheels. When you look under that, it has a plastic pipe coming out that you then hook the utilities up to. So that's for your electric, for your potable water, and then also for your septic. So you do have to have, there usually is a lot of site utility work that goes on with this stuff. Where I think one of the reasons I focus on the workforce housing, I go, you have very interesting efficiencies that you can find. For example, you could do a bunch of units and then have separate bathroom units that serve, 20, 30 residences all combined. What that does is you're not doing 30 connections for each individual unit, but you have, a bathroom facility for the whole thing. So you 100% can do this. If anyone's thinking about doing these for a home, inside the home, it's not going to be any different than what you're used to. When you're doing the utility connection work, it's really not bad at all. It's the same essentially process that they would do for a traditional home construction. You'd have all your utilities run in. It's just all going in through like one central, the electric, the potable, and the septic at one point in the modular. Oh, and a key thing with those, electric always needs to be done by a licensed electrician, not just a contractor. Plumbing, potable water, all has to be done by a plumber. This is one thing we will not do anything any other way. That's a DPNR requirement. I just want people to always be sure to always have an electrician, a licensed electrician do this stuff.
So what I understand in using this technology, that there's no shortcuts, right? Like this is for certain situations potentially, and possibly it could be used, for our situation in regards to higher winds, but it needs to be modified for that specifically, but not just thinking you can just get this container and then, just have it for your home, like for eons of years without some possible concerns, without taking into consideration some possible concerns or mitigating those concerns before it even happens.
Exactly. And the key thing is just keep an eye out on this whole space and industry because advancements are being made. If you want to see some really cool stuff, check out what like Australia and Europe are doing. Australia in particular, it's fascinating. They have hotels made out of containers. It's wild.
Really?
So, it's like I'm talking 4, 5, 6 stories up. It is wild, but it's something that's definitely advancing. I'm very excited by you've probably seen those like HGTV shows about the tiny homes and everything. So
Yeah.
it's catching on. I think the more kind of companies that enter the space and find a market here, the benefit that will benefit us down the line 100%. It just I don't think the technology is there yet to the point where it's this magic silver bullet that's just going to solve all our problems. We can use what's existing. It just, in my opinion, it has to be a very specific use case to make
Right.
it really work.
Got it. Well, thank you so much. And I love for you to share those links. We'll have with the individuals that emailed you, if you said those links of those hotels, we could put as a
Yeah.
resource for people
Oh,
to
yeah. Mhm.
refer to as well. And I
Sounds
loved
good.
your presentation and thanks so much. I look forward to looking into it further. And I'm on St. Croix, so yeah,
Okay.
we can definitely
Yeah.
use some of that here.
Yep.
And just to let you know, Chris, there will be a summit
Okay.
in October, which Senator Blyden is coordinating.
Okay.
And so there will be an opportunity to be an exhibitor or vendor in person, and the public, as well as tradespersons, will be invited. So, many people will be exposed to what you and your family have to offer.
Awesome. Yeah, I can see if we can bring a modular or a container office over and let people walk through, you know.
Oh, wow, that'd
That
be
would
great.
be ideal.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that would be in October. We're looking that week of the 21st, I think. 21st,
Okay.
22nd, 23rd, something
Cool.
like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
In
Sounds
October.
great.
Thanks so much. And have a
Thank
great
you, guys.
day.
Have
Okay.
a great day, Chris.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Wonderful day. Thank you, everyone, for your time. Really appreciate you.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate you.